So, hello and welcome to the second episode of Dynamics Indiallectuals Podcast. I'm delighted to have you with me today. Let me introduce you to our viewers. Our guest today is Mr. Søren Fries Alexandersen, currently serving as a Principal Product Manager at Microsoft on the Dynamics 365 Business Central engineering team based in Denmark. He's a seasoned thought leader in the ERP space, now in his third decade of professional experience, and has a dedicated focus on reimagining finance through the lens of AI. Not only is Søren recognized for his deep technical expertise and strategic leadership, but he is also celebrated for championing collaborative and human centered technology. He fosters a culture of openness and continuous learning and strongly advocates for fairness, transparency, and accessibility in AI driven solutions. Thank you for joining me on Dynamics Intellectuals podcast today, sir. It's an honor to have you with me as
Thank you so much for having me.
Perfect, perfect. So this is, what I know about you from the information available in public from LinkedIn and other social medias. But other than that, we'd like to know more about you. What a typical day looks like in your life, what you're doing when you're not working, what is your favorite cuisine, what you like to do in your weekends, everything other than what we know from LinkedIn.
All right. So where do we begin? I guess I should start talking about a bit of my background before coming to Microsoft.
Uh-huh.
So I started my journey with IT in the mid 90s, completed my education. I'm probably the most undereducated person in our team, in that I didn't go to university. I had a very small 2-year business college background. That was kind of a test education at the time. It's gone now. The education doesn't exist anymore. So I was sort of in no man's land, education wise, but luckily I fairly quickly got an IT job and, learning through my job basically, which is still the culture even at Microsoft, right? So I've been at end customers. I've been at various partners, always with a sort of technical focus and also a business focus. Back in the NAV days, I was sort of a hybrid between the development and consultant, which was more possible then, I believe, than now. And I was self-employed, had a small partner company from 2008 until I joined Microsoft in 2016.
Okay.
And then had a small stint in the sales area in sort of sales organization in Microsoft until I joined what would be now be the Business Central engineering team in 2017. So been with the engineering team for BC now for what is this, like eight years now. And loving it. So so that's sort of the work background. Gosh, we could go anywhere from there. I play music in my sort of free time. I'm sort of a semi-professional musician in that I do some gigging with my rock band.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah, been playing guitar since I was 13.
And what food do you love?
Food. Anything really. I have I'm kind of a sucker for when all the taste nuances sort of blend together that like you would know from Mexican food, like the sweet and sour and the savories, like when all those sort of go together and the hot, like all that combination, I find it very satisfying. But I also do like I could do like very, very sort of traditional Danish meaty dishes as well. But so, yeah, I feel like I'm very limited in my knowledge of what food's available. So I try to get inspired also. Indian food as well. I mean, lots of great stuff. I probably only know like half of it or less that comes to the area where I live. But I guess everything basically would be my answer.
Perfect. That's very good to know. And right now, you're the product manager in Microsoft looking for Business Central. So, what is experience like? What do you see where the Business Central is going? Is it going what you feel should be the pathway for Business Central, or you think that, okay, these are the pathways that we should have followed, or there are some constants that you're not able to do so, any such thing? Or you feel that the product is going in the perfect path and the personal view?
Well, I can speak for from my vantage point and from the area that I own, which is the finance area of BC.
Mhm.
So I currently work with what we call the Payables Agent, which is now out in preview, and that is sort of spot on, and everything seems to point to that. This is an area that people really like that we're focusing on, like being able to process your vendor invoices, OCR, applying AI on top of it to get them registered and processed correctly. So from that point on, it seems like we're doing the right thing. And of course, everything that we do as an engineering team these days says AI. Uh, that's the mandate that we have as a company, because we want to win the AI race, if you will, if you can call
Right.
it a race. So in that sense, everything spells AI. That of course also means that there's stuff that we don't do, like any, let's call it, conventional feature that doesn't spell AI, unless there's a very good reason for us to do that, because an agent will need that feature as well to navigate the product and so on. So
Right.
yes, there are many things we don't do. So that's the opportunity cost of doing AI only. So you can argue, you can be the devil's advocate and say, well, do we sacrifice some other value that we could have had and provided tomorrow um, because we're doing AI? Yeah,
Mhm.
sure. But that's the name of the game. That's how purchasing and so on works, right? So we just place all our bets on AI, like it's all chips on AI, red and black, and and then the roulette runs, and then we'll see what happens on the other side. And
Right.
no, I'm super excited. I'm also a well, what how would I phrase it? I'm in terms of AI and AI being applied in the world, I'm kind of a
Mhm.
skeptical optimist. So I'm
Ah.
skeptical about some parts of AI, like human
Mhm.
aspects and trust and transparency and all these things. But I'm super optimistic in terms of use cases and where you can apply it and so on. So yeah, and I assume I'm not the only person sort of with sort of mixed emotions. You see what you can do with deep fakes and stuff like that can really
Right.
hurt
Right.
people.
Right.
And then on the other side, you have things in business and even personal productivity that you can do with AI. It's just phenomenal. So
Exactly. Exactly.
that we need to find a balance. We need to find out how to work with this technology, and the world needs to figure out how to use it. And now, of course, you could say that technology goes so fast, to your point about GPT-5 now.
Mhm.
It feels like it goes so fast that, hang on tooth and nail to just keep up. Even for us who's working at sort of the forefront, it's super hard to keep up. I personally struggle with
Right.
it, to be
Right.
honest with you.
Right. It's every day something new is coming and AI is evolving like anything. And talking about agents, when we got these agents in Business Central and I tested it, in the beginning I just thought that okay, it is just another feature. But when I tested it, I saw the real use cases and how it is changing the complete landscape of any ERP for that sake. And Business Central, the sales order agent, and now the payables agent, specifically the payables agent, I tested this just I believe the last week, and it is great. I think it is automating everything, one of the crucial things that we used to do through add-ons, and now it is happening out of the box through AI. So it's perfect. The payables agent is perfect. So if I want to talk further on the payables agent, we have a streamlined process right now that we have got, but this is in private preview. It might change. This is the official documentation when I read it, that it might change when we get it in public preview. So, what do you think? Is it all that we will have in payables agent, or is it going to evolve through time?
Yeah, that's a great question. And no, we've only scratched the surface. So
Oh,
what's happening at the same time as we're building the agent, both the payables agent and the sales order agent, is that we're also building what we call the agent runtime. So everything you see as the agent sidecar with the tasks and things that are
mhm.
running, we're
Right,
improving that as we speak. So we're sort of laying down the
right,
track at
right.
the same time that we're driving it. So that kind of, I won't say it slows down development a bit, but we need to take things under considerations as we're sort of building the plane while flying it. But we've only scratched the
Mhm.
surface in terms of ordering the process and the amount of AI we want to put into it. So uh, right now, as of this moment, like August 8th, we're sort of finalizing the upcoming major release, so the October release. So that is going to be locked down here soon, right? And then only bug fixes and so on will go in. But we're also adding stuff for the Payables Agent for that. One core aspect of the Payables Agent right now is that your history, your post-purchase invoice history matters a lot to the agent in terms of, now it sees a new invoice. I wonder, how did this company process this invoice before? It looks at the posted invoice history and to find patterns, to see, how did this bill from an electrician, how did we handle that in the past? Are there any nuances on this invoice that gives away if that electrician just switched some light bulbs in the office or repaired a machine at the warehouse? Maybe there's nuances. Maybe that's a different GL account, things of that nature. And using the LLM to understand that kind of nuance, that's sort of that we don't have that right now, but that's what we want to add to the major release.
That's great. It's great.
Yeah, we like that as well. And obviously a lot of testing and experimentation need to be done. And just another example is when it then looks at how have we done that in the past, you can configure, should it just, when it looks for that past history, should it do that within the scope of the current vendor, or look for similar vendors to find, oh, maybe we haven't had work from that electrician before, but we have from another company that did similar work for us. Can it look at that as well? Or do you want to look across all vendors? Things like that.
That's even
What
better.
we know.
Right. So I think when when I hear about these logics that you are sharing, it seems perfect, and I'm quite confident that this is on a very great path, because the engineering team is doing great, and what you've explained right now, I think I didn't had this information, but once I've got this, I'm more confident, because whenever we talk about AI, we always talk about hallucinations, whether we can rely on the results or not. So AI is one thing, but reliable AI, whether specifically in business terms, it's very important. And when you explain this, that how you're going to improve it, I think it will do wonders, and Payables Agent specifically. So looking forward to it when we get it in public, and when everybody starts using it, when we see the client using it in the real implementations, we as a consultant will be very happy. And definitely, it originates from your team, so you'll be very happy. So that's great. I think the AI feature, the agent has a great future because of the great engineering team in Microsoft. Now, if I talk about, the overall product and AI, various features I've incorporated, and also the payables that you have mentioned. If I talk about the overall product, just any point, 1 or 2 point that you love about this product, or any point that you seem that it is a gap and it should be there. For example, we got quality module. We have not got it, but we know that now we will get it in December in the next major release. And specifically in Indian market, everybody wanted quality module in Business Central. Everybody was using some add-ons, most of the clients. So we missed it a lot. And when we got this notification that, okay, we are going to get it, everybody was so excited. So something like that you feel should have been from last few years, but you find it missing, and something that you love about it. I know agents, you love it, but other than agents, other than AI feature, anything that you love about it, and anything that you see it as a gap as of now.
That is currently a gap, right? Okay, that's actually hard. But let me give it a shot anyway. So, first of all, I would like to say that what I love most about the product as sort of a general capability is the extensibility, like the fact that anyone out there basically can extend the product in a way that is opaque to the user. In a way, it just seems like Business Central. You add fields, you add functionality, APIs, what have you. That is the core strength. So we've always, and I say this with a smile, we've always, as a product, had sort of a identity crisis. That's my term for it, in the sense that we're a platform. We're a business solution, but we're also a platform, right? So we're an end-to-end solution covering all rooms of the house, but we're also a platform you can build upon to add more features. So, and sometimes for one, let's say, room of the house, let's just pick one, manufacturing. How far do we go? How much do we build it end to end, and how much do we say, oh, it's a platform, partners, you do the last 15% or 20%. So for some modules, it's probably felt like we've done 70%. For some modules, it feels like we've done 95%. So one thing I really love that we added recently within the last few years is the whole Shopify module. So being able to set up an integration to an online shop in a matter of seconds, like it's basically a flip of the switch plus some small configuration options, depending on how advanced your scenario is. That is so cool. And there's a huge business opportunity there for partners who want to chase down all those merchants who don't have an ERP today, who wants to have inventory management, all those things, tax reporting. If you like, there's so much opportunity because Shopify has like millions of merchants. And I think it's just such a cool example of us doing like a very easy onboarding where you flip the switch basically. Because as you probably have also heard, when people hear, oh, we want to integrate our shop, our web shop with our ERP, people think, oh, wow, that's double-digit $1,000 project or something like that. No, it's flip a switch. Then, of course, comes the thing: can you live with the current experience, or do you want to extend it? So I think there's that. If I should, so one thing I might consider, gap is a harsh word, but there's some, now that we venture into processing vendor invoices, there's also a thing about employee expenses that seem like, why, like it's two sides of the same coin. Should we go there? Should we not? Because you have a picture on your phone with your receipts. Maybe you have pictures of who you had dinner with. I don't know. There's probably all kinds of privacy stuff. And it seems like such a good case for AI to figure out.
Definitely.
Do your expense reporting, time registration as well. It's also one of these things where, could it be done better? But really, there's so many places where a lot of great partners also and ISVs are doing super cool stuff that just, people love. So we want to pick the broader capability pieces. And I think agents, especially like the sales process now, and now the vendor invoice processing is just one of those things that all customers do. So it makes sense. So I think you can expect us to do more in those, let's say, general public areas, more so than diving into a specific niche or industry.
Okay. Perfect. I think that's great. That's great to know. And what you've explained, I faced a similar situation when client wanted a full-fledged expense management system. And I, as a consultant, had to say that we have basic expense management. You can go to general journal, select the type as employee ledger entries are being generated, and that has been added, I believe in, it was not from the beginning, it was added in few updates. And I can say that we have some basic stuffs, but if you need a full-fledged expense management, then we suggest some add-ons. So yes, but at least the good point is we have some popular add-ons in this space. So that is a relief. Okay. Now, when we say about the product, I think we have spoken a few things. Now I'll come more on the profile side, because now you're the product manager. When we start as a fresher, for example, I have now almost 10 years of experience, and I worked into NAV and now into BC, and I'm a completely functional consultant. So I get this question often that from freshers who have just started in a company, they have worked for just 6 months, and they get this question that, okay, I can see two profiles in this company basically at their level. One is technical consultant, one is functional consultant. And they always want to know that which side should I choose so that I have a better career growth and everything. Because at that point of time, they don't know the whole picture. So they just ask this question that which side should I choose? I have interest in both the paths because it has been 6 months. I can do technical, I can do functional. I'm comfortable with those. So I always try to answer it in a pragmatic way, but I just want to understand from you because you have a lot more experience than me and you have seen a lot more than what I have seen. So I just wanted to understand this from you. What do you suggest a fresher if you get this question?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I'm trying to think about an insightful answer. And it's one of those things where ask me again tomorrow, and I might have a different answer
Uh-huh.
because of AI, because of technology.
Right,
And
right, right.
so, as a person who started very technical myself, where AI wasn't a thing, at least not in the sense that we know today.
Mhm.
Um, it really mattered with all the technical things. It really mattered that you could, write good tests, that you could validate code, you could, and all those things. But I think what we're all seeing these days is that that part of the stack is being, I won't say challenged, but AI now begins to write code. You hear about vibe coding and the things you can do, but
Right.
by describing things. I don't have the answer, but is there now, like, if I was studying to become a developer these days, I might feel that when I'm done with my education, uh, maybe I don't even need to write code the same way I used to anymore because now I have
Exactly.
AI writing it for me. Someone should still validate code, but even those validations of code and writing tests and all those things is also being challenged. So where are we in 5 years on that? I don't know. I would think there are still developers out there,
Mhm.
but maybe that role is about to change a lot from a functional perspective. I think that role will also change. I also see as a product manager my role changing in terms of how I do quicker proof of concepts and user storyboarding, and probably easier with AI to do more visual oriented things. And that's, but I think what is not changing, I think, is to be able to speak with a customer, challenge a customer on what they think they want because of all the reasons why they think they want it, um, and be able to maybe end of the day not even touch the code. Say no, if you just turn the palette this way, you can scan the label. That whatever, like do it in a non-code way. Sometimes there are non-technical ways of solving an issue, right? By challenging
Right.
the way the customer works. So, or being able to really translate that into, okay, here are the actual requirements. How do we transfer that into? How do we even proof of concept with the customer? Not just going back to developers and say, "Hey, go build this," and then 3 months later hand over to the customer, but instead say, "No, let me as a consultant try to storyboard this for you and do some quick mock-offs with AI," or something like that. Say, "Oh, is this how you want to work?" Like, that kind of role. And I think for me, if I was to choose today, I would feel much more threatened is a harsh word again, as a core developer, because I would feel like AI would start chipping away on those very technical pieces of the stack. That said, I think the architect role is still super necessary. You have things like MCP and all other stuff, APIs and what have you,
Right.
apps that need to still speak to each other, and on from a BC perspective, apps that need to fit together. Will this app from ISV X work with this app from ISV Y?
Mhm.
That all that kind of stuff still needs to go on that can validate sort of, a customer setup and so on. So what I'm trying to say, I think, is uh, uh, the business functionality side there will keep being a demand for that in many, many years to come, I think. The hardcore technical side, I'm not so sure.
Mhm.
That said, if you told me today you would write code as something and is now in production, I would say, how can you sleep at night, right? Because who can vouch for your security,
Exactly.
who can vouch for stability? So there's something right now where it feels like, yeah, it's fun, but will go into production. But who knows in 5 years, right? So yeah, that was a long-winded
Exactly.
answer of saying I probably lean more like 80-20 towards like functional. Uh,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean you can't have an element of technical in you, but focusing only technical development code, for me, if I could choose again, I wouldn't go that route, even though I love
Right,
code.
right. No, no, definitely. If I think of it as this way, that if 5 years back as a functional, I wanted to get and learn a bit about the AL codes and write how to add a field and in Business Central, or let's say even in NAV, I have to learn about it. But now I can just prompt it with right prompts and know where to place, and this will be done. So it will be easier to transition into the technical role, I believe, and to do some of the works. Definitely, it will be a bit risky in the beginning, but once you have some idea, it will be easier for us to transition, or anybody to transition into that role. But again, I read a famous quote when AI come, that AI will not replace you, but you'll be replaced by someone who knows AI. So I believe it stands true for everyone. Okay, now we have talked about the product, we have talked about what profile we should choose, and then I want to move a bit about the other questions, because I think we have almost 2 minutes left. But thank you for allowing me to extend the time a bit. So now,
Sure.
in today's world, you work with a lot of people. We work with people in different roles: consultants, technicals, architects, everyone. And you have gone through more than 2 decades of experience and learning through that experience and knowing from that experience and what you see in the current workforce landscape. What do you think is one or two things which is missing, or if I don't want to put it as missing, or you can say it has evolved a lot from what you used to do earlier and what is happening right now in the workforce?
Like, you mean that in my role specifically, or across sort of any role? Because I think we alluded to
Whatever
something
people you
before.
work with, right? And whatever people you used to work with. If, for example, 10 years also back, also you were working with few people as a team, now also you work with a team. What do you think has changed a lot, and let's say you miss those things and your
Mhm.
associate in your team?
Yeah, I think what's changed the most for me, and I think also the team, again, has to do with AI, uh, is that when we agreed on what to build, a certain feature, a certain module that a person like me would suggest to our leadership, and they would say, yes, that's a good idea. Let's do that. I would work with engineers and then and with UX and sort of say, okay, how should they work? How should they look? What should the user experience be? Our toolbox was sort of fixed. We knew what AL code could do, right? So uh, we wouldn't just. I know we were sort of improving the AL language over time, but that's not uh, that's not sort of revolutionary in that sense. But AI has changed that. Now it feels like we know what to build, and we all probably also know that it will be received well, which wasn't the case for all features historically. Um, so we've become better at validation beforehand, validating that people want this. But our toolbox is, I won't say totally unknown, but you have an update to a GPT model, who knows how it will work tomorrow, right? So coming back to your point about you need reliable results, especially in finance. So that notion of, okay, can we even build this? Like, so we don't know our tools anymore. Tomorrow we reach into the toolbox and pick up our tools. The tools are different and the outcomes are different. It's like, if you're a carpenter and you have a hammer, it would be challenging if tomorrow that hammer would work differently. I think that's our reality, that tomorrow our tools might work differently because the output of AI in the current sort of tech is different. That I feel is a challenge. It's something that also challenges our sort of tests, frameworks and stuff like that, because the output might be different. So I think, and to be honest, that as a product manager, to be completely transparent, is also what's super challenging, in that it's just hard to keep up and figure out, oh, now a new model. And to be honest, I've tried to keep away from, oh, this model can do that, and now it's this 4.0 and 4.0 mini, and now it's 5. I actually don't care in that sense. I care about the outcome eventually. Can we build this feature? If that model is not up to snuff, well, find me a model that could do that. That's the engineer's jobs, right? In sort of.
Right.
I haven't had to look too much into models and what they can do. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that was the answer you're kind of looking for, but I think that's kind of the
Definitely, definitely.
major change that's happening.
I have got the answer and very well explained, I guess. So now I'll move bit towards, what are the things that you use in your daily life to be productive. So can you name one or two tools that you use in your daily professional life to be more productive?
Yeah. It's one of the, like, of course, I use Teams like anyone else, and
Mhm,
Teams seems to be the surface of everything
mhm.
these days,
Definitely.
which is cool. I'm in my late 40s, so I'm still very
Mhm,
much bound to Outlook,
mhm.
I like the improvements that's been done to Outlook over time.
Yeah.
Not to sort of dive into the whole email, how to handle emails, because it feels
Mhm.
so 2000s kind of thing, but I've always been the kind of guy who use my mail as my to-do list in a
Oh,
sense,
okay.
right?
Mhm,
So I've been starting to use Planner here the last year or so.
mhm,
Been trying to work more with that. Works okay-ish for me, but I think it's probably a better tool if you're multiple people working in the same plans. Uh, but email email. Oh, I sound like such a boomer, but
No, no, no.
email is still sort of my one of my favorite tools. But obviously, having Copilot now side by side
Mhm.
to
Yep.
help me do proof of concepts, to help me. The way I like to use Copilot in my daily life is as an opinionated person. I have some opinions about our customers, what features we should build, how we should build them, and so on. Uh, so I actually use Copilot a lot to say, I have this thought, prove me wrong, kind of. I want the counter
Mhm,
arguments because I
mhm.
also want to be prepared for when I present something to colleagues who will
Definitely.
present me with counter arguments. So I like to use it in that kind of brainstormy way. Of course, we need to be critical of what AI says and the sources and so on. But I like to use it that way. But even just developing an idea with Copilot. So actually, when we built the Payables Agent, before that code even started, I messed around with Copilot and say, hey, here's an invoice. Imagine it comes from a vendor. Is there anything specific I should be aware of from an accountant perspective? And one
Mhm,
of the lines of the invoice said something like support and service for 12 months.
yeah.
And Copilot said, yeah, actually, you probably need to defer that expense.
Mhm.
And if that was in a business central context, we need to use the deferral code on the invoice line.
Definitely.
That was proof of concept to be that GPT, which is also what we sort of use under the hood, right?
Correct.
Knew about this thing. It had a
Mhm,
foundational knowledge about uh, accounting. So that
mhm.
was kind of a proof of concept saying, can we even build this? Do we think we can build this agent even? So working with it that way, yeah, develop ideas, business research, things of that nature. Even, and I'm probably, as you probably also do a lot like, hey, I have a file in this format, or I have here now, stupid example, 10 tenant IDs that are all uppercase. I want them lowercase. Hey, Copilot, just, lowercase all this for me, stupid stuff like that. But, all those things, it's just incredible, helping you solve, get
Exactly.
that SQL
Exactly.
statement right. And uh,
Perfect, perfect. So that was my next question, that which AI tool you use, but you've answered that you use Copilot. But other than Copilot, have you tried any other tool and you feel that this particular AI, for example, we have Gemini from Google, we have DeepSeek when it came, it dropped the US market by, 5-10%. So we have Quen, we have Grok, all these things. So what do you think? You use Copilot always, or do you think that for some tasks, the other AIs are better? Because I have seen few
no, yeah.
MVPs using Quen to generate the AL code, and one of the MVPs posted on LinkedIn that Quen is the clear winner here, and due to multiple reasons. So I just wanted to know your take on this.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I actually feel a little bit
Mhm.
caught in a corner here because I use Topaz a lot because I need to figure out how it works with the Microsoft 365 stack as
Mhm.
well. But I do talk to talk with, I should say, ChatGPT when I'm driving because it's
Mhm.
easier. And I use ChatGPT more when I need some kind of visual output. Say, hey, generate an image
Ah.
that displays blah. I find that ChatGPT works better. I don't know if I can say this out loud,
Mhm.
but it
Mhm.
works better than Copilot for that.
No, no, I
Many of the
understand.
other services, I still need to find time to uh,
Mhm.
to try to work with those. And I think brings next to me too. One of the biggest challenges right now is to find time enough, and it's kind of a paradox, right? Because we say, "Oh, AI should help us, get more time." I just don't think we've gotten to that place yet, at least not in my work. There's so much to fill up, but I would love to have more time to play with more
Mhm.
tools and technologies and so on. Yeah, so I try to remove all the distractions.
Understood. Understood. Okay. So I think I'm done with most of the question. Now I'll just move a bit towards your choices so that we know, other than the work, what are your choices. For example, uh, one series or movie that you loved a lot and you would want to suggest everybody to watch it.
Right. Oh, there are so many to choose from. Uh, there, there's there's some movies you just sort of go back to, and one that I keep coming back to that I could just watch again and again. That's totally unrelated to everything sort of technology. Is an old movie from the 90s. It's called Meet Joe Black with Brad Pitt, where he plays
Okay.
death
Okay.
coming back in as a person. It's just such a like he just. I mean, it's great because all human experiences are new to him. It's the first time that death has taken a human form. So
Okay.
he needs to uh, uh, experience everything for the first time, right? There's a scene where he tastes peanut butter for the first time, and he just
Haha.
does a phenomenal job of having this. This was the first time I ever experienced this. Like his
Mhm.
expression and something. Like it's just such a great actor, and one of my favorite movies. And the whole mood is just great, and it has a happy ending,
Perfect.
sort of happy sad ending combined. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I've got a movie to watch in my weekend because I love watching movies and series. So I have one added to my watch list now. Okay. Other than that, if I talk about any book that you would recommend everybody to read, whether it is related to technology or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I actually asked myself the question, like, what would be the ones that I would sort of pick from, and I have sort of two that are sort of related, same topic that I actually pull forward, and then there's the one other I just want to highlight after that. Actually, let me just quickly get. So,
Uh-huh. That would be great.
so, but first of all, um, now that we're talking about time and finding time, we're also in a situation. I don't know how it is in India these days, but there's a lot of talk about mental health and stress and anxiety these days, and not least because of these
Mhm.
work and too much screen time and what have you. Um, so one of the well, two books that I really recommend that's helped me a lot to sort of protect my time. One is this book called Stolen Focus, which is all about how sort of big tech is sort of stealing our time, grabbing our attention, and sort of
Mm.
have been designing for uh, addiction, basically. So basically, like the way we have infinite scroll on LinkedIn or infinite scroll on Facebook, like the way that it always grabs your attention, want to keep you scrolling more.
Mhm.
Um, that that's not good for health. It's not good for our
Yep.
time, and it leaves us with less time to do valuable stuff. And that brings me to the next book, which is called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport.
Okay.
It's really
Great.
about, and from the title, it could sound like I sort of despise digital things, but of course I don't. I work with tech, but it's more about assessing every single digital tool and app in your life, apps on your phone, and asking yourself the question, how does this app help achieve my life goals? Personally, and everyone here can do what they want. I looked at my Facebook and my Twitter and said, are these in any way helping me achieve my life goals? And I fairly quickly found out that no, they basically just consume my time. I don't feel more connected to my friends. I don't feel more connected to family. Um, so I actually deleted those accounts. So this is about finding a healthier way of living with technology in your life.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. That's
yeah,
great insight. I think it's very hard to, get these kind of advices when we talk to people from the peer level, because again, when I talk to my friend, he has the same experiences, same experience level and everything. So I believe That's why it is necessary not only on the professional side, but even on the personal side, if you want to grow, to talk to people like you and even get this information to everybody who cannot, reach out to you and talk to you. So that's a great piece of advice, and I'm going to include it. I have done a
Yeah.
few things like you have mentioned, but still I am on that, on the path to that digital minimalism. I have to do it. So thanks a lot for
And
reminding and reiterating this for me.
yeah, no, you're welcome. And of course, it's also a journey. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? It can be
Exactly.
I chose this app because it gives me value. I have an app for checking in beer. I like beer, so I check
Mhm.
them in and I rate them. Gives me something,
Right.
but I don't find myself
Definitely.
infinite scrolling on that. So,
Yep. Yep.
um,
Doom scrolling.
the 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 other book I want to sort of just highlight is important now, also in the light of AI. And the title might sound strange, but the title is called "The Tyranny of Merit,"
Mhm.
and it's kind of a provoking book. But when you start reading it, it turns out it's not provoking at all. It sort of says that merits don't work. So take
Okay.
the example where you need some merit to get into a certain education to go to
Mhm.
college. Uh, but if you don't get in, merits also imply that you're not good enough, which is not
Yep.
true. I mean,
Correct.
so and I know many companies when they sort of hire new people, they sort of say, "Oh, you must have a master's degree in whatever." But why? Anyone can
Mhm.
learn anything. Some of the best people I've worked with in IT doesn't come from an IT background. Right now, there's a person in my close proximity in the AI space
Mhm.
who's actually a historian.
Ah.
And he's a brilliant guy. He taught and he's sort of schooled into this realm sort of through other ways. And now, when you think about AI, all the ways you have information available in a way, of course, you need to critically assess that information, but you can learn so much stuff in other ways that you could, like, even just 5 years ago. So I would really challenge the whole concept of merit in many cases. Like, of course,
Strongly
organizations,
agree.
society need to sort of, take a stance on, do we, enforce merits or not? But I just think more often than not, merits don't make sense. Anyone can learn anything.
Exactly. I strongly agree to that. And mostly in outside India and European countries and US everywhere, I see this less. But in India, based on merit, this criteria is very strong. So I always felt like this, that okay, anyone can learn anything. I started as I have done BTech engineering, then I moved from technical to functional. I'm doing perfectly fine in functional. I love this profile. So there is some stereotype that once you move post 10 years, you have to do your master's degree. Otherwise, you will not get promotions in your company. So these kind of stereotype is still there, at least in India. I don't know about the culture in the countries, but it is very strong here. And I wanted to,
Mm.
you know, just know it from someone and hear the statement someone very badly, that yes, merit doesn't make sense always. Anybody can learn anything as far as they're interested, they're enthusiastic about it. So thanks a lot for this. And that being said, it brings us to my last question, and that would be one piece of advice that you want to give everyone, whether it is on personal level, it is on professional level, anything. One piece of advice that you believed on, you followed, and you want everybody to know about it and follow it.
Yeah. I've thought long and hard about that one as well. And it's one that I'm reminded of every day myself, which is uh, always try to keep sort of a beginner's mind.
Mhm.
That will be helpful in so many ways. I'm reminded every day that people are so skilled. Tons of imposter syndrome every day, which is both good and bad because it helps me, learn new things. But never be the kind of person who thinks you know it all. Like, always be learning. Embrace a growth mindset. Try to, which I could learn to be better at, ask more questions. Ask more
Mhm.
questions, like everywhere. You know, every day, any situation. Ask more questions, more so than state what you think you know. I can definitely learn to be better at that. But yeah, ask questions. There was one, I can't remember where this quote is from, but there was one who once said, be more interested than interesting. And I think there's a
Ah,
lot of truth in that. Like,
perfect.
ask
Exactly. Very
questions.
well said. Right, right, right. Great, great, great. I think I'll have to call not it as a podcast, but you know, inspiration, a motivation that I wanted to get from someone, or even I wanted to share it with the community. That look, even people who have done great in their life in this space, they feel the same way, and they have followed this path, and they've come from this background, and they're doing great, and this is what they believe in, and this belief and this faith and this culture has brought them where they are right now. So thanks a lot for giving us the time to have this podcast. I feel very fortunate to have you as our guest, and looking forward to again have discussions anytime you're free in the future, whenever we get new agents or something that we would like to discuss on. So thanks a lot for being on the episode today, and I wish you a great day ahead.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking time to talk to me face to face. After all, human connection is what it's all about.
Great, great, great. Thank you. Thanks a lot.